Great. Welcome, everyone. It's amazing to have you. Welcome to our monthly HeartPowered Speaking Community Call. I know we have a lot of you with us, as I can see here. We're spanning the whole globe again. It's wonderful to have you all. And some of you are first-timers with us. Some of you have been with us quite regularly for actually quite a few years, which is amazing. And, for all the first-timers here, let me introduce myself in the first place. I'm Monique Bloxel. I'm the founder of HeartPowered Business. Our mantra here is speak up, scale up, impact the world. And we've helped hundreds of clients from really all over the world, more than 50 countries by now, to go professional with their speaking and to really double, triple, even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. And I've been a paid speaker myself for more than 20 years, been on stages in more than 30 countries around the globe. And I know how magic is created for ourselves personally, our businesses, and the audience when we fully embrace the power of our voice and we really step up as speakers in the greatest ways. And if you are serious of stepping up with your speaking, we are really also running a Thought Leader Circle community, where the first month we invite you to join us for free. I'm going to share the link in a few minutes in the chat, but there we really give you, we run live sessions every month where, in the first session, we really teach you on a topic to really get your speaking to a different level. And the second call, then we are really working with whatever drafts you have created on your speaker profile, your speaker strategy, your speeches itself, and we give you concrete feedback. So if that is something that resonates with you, come and join us, check it out. And as I said, I share the link with you in a few minutes. But this session is not about me at all. It's all about you, every one of you that's here with us today, because I'm celebrating that all of you have an amazing voice. And, and it's all about our amazing guests. So these sessions here today are really to inspire you, give you some really tangible, practical steps of how to bring your speaking and your business to the next level. And as you know, every month we have an amazing expert guest. And today we have a really dear friend of mine that I invited, that I met actually last year at the Asia Pacific Speaking Summit in Singapore. And he gave a workshop back then that really inspired me on how you create a showreel to really magnetize your audience and event organizers to invite you and your best clients. And I don't know if you've ever wondered how to really produce a cinematic speaker showreel that attracts the clients that need your message the most. And I know a lot of people think like, I don't even have a speaker profile yet. How can I create a speaker showreel? I know it can be a little bit overwhelming thinking about how do I start creating my own. But once you have one, it really becomes a really powerful marketing tool to share with event organizers, with event planners, to trigger their interest of hiring you. And it can be used in many other ways too. But I know it's not easy to start. You might not know what to put in, how to produce it, and how to really make sure, you use it in the smartest ways. So that's why I invited my amazing friend, Nathan Shooter, today to share that with us, because he is the master. He is on a mission to make ideas matter. He is an amazing brand strategist. He is a corporate filmmaker, and he himself is an international speaker who really knows the power and believes in the power of ideas. Why? Because ideas change people and people change the world. That's what his mantra is. And he really works with business leaders around the world and speakers around the world, helping them to shift from confusion to clarity, feeling confident to create easy to understand brands that have a deep impact and a broad influence. He is not playing small, he's always playing big. And he is also known as the sneaker speaker, striding the stage with signature high-top sneakers. And he serves on business boards and is the founder of the Australian startup Viesco Coffee. So if you're a coffee fan, right, you have something in common with him as well. He's also curious to connect, and I'm sure you're curious to learn more from him, to connect with him. That's your opportunity today. And most importantly, he's going to really enlighten you and share with you a very powerful step-by-step guide on how you get going with creating your own speaker showreel. So please, all of you, okay, give me a hand, okay, and welcome, Nathan. Nathan, it's amazing to have you with us. Welcome, welcome.
It's amazing to be with you. And Monique is a dear friend of mine. And when we met in Singapore, you know, when you meet some people and you just think that you feel like you've known each other a long time, that's Monique, the kind of connection that I had with you. So it was so lovely to have met you, because look where we've landed. How cool is this?
Yeah.
And we've got 16 people joining us tonight, and many more to come, and many more to watch the replay as well. So I guess really a really great place to start is to say that you can do it. Okay, so when it comes to being a professional speaker or even an emerging speaker, one of the biggest problems that we face is not necessarily the technology, not even, say, doing the showreel, but it's just that sense of belief in our own ability to deliver. And so tonight, really what I want you to do is to kind of set yourself free of some of the maybe limiting beliefs that you might have and some of the mindsets that are not serving you, and to really step into that new place of, I guess, fruitfulness, because people are waiting for you. People are looking to you rather than you shouldn't feel like people are looking at you if that resonates with you. So for a long time, a lot of people who have been my clients who are speakers, leaders, and coaches and authors have felt the weight and the burden of having to be the hero, having to be the solution. But actually, that's going to be removed tonight, because what I'm going to show you is how you are actually going to be the guide on the quest that is for the event organizer to find the perfect speaker, which happens to be you. Okay, so what I'd love you to do is just also to note any questions you have in the chat, and also just put yourself on mute too, if you could kindly do that for us as well, that'd be great. And I'm going to just take a moment, just quickly just share my screen. So if you've got some questions, please put them in the chat here, and I'll just get this screen happening. All right, can you see my screen? Yes, fantastic, awesome.
Yes.
All right, so you can, brilliant. Make ideas matter. To me, this is what everything is about. This is the absolute core of who I am and why we're here tonight. But it didn't actually start like that. So about 12 years ago, this is the situation that I was in. I was lying in a hospital bed. It wasn't this exact hospital, but it was another one in Sydney. And I just wanted to die, right? I was just coming out of a unconscious state from a major reconstructive surgery, which did not go well. I woke up and it was like I was being tortured over and over and over again, like I'd been shot and then set on fire, but never actually dying. And then I finally got through, and then I was able to build some kind of semblance of a life. Then part of the piece of steel they put in my chest when they reconstructed me slipped and pushed into a lung, and I had what would only be described as suicidal pain for another 6 to 12 months. But then a surgeon changed my life, and I had another procedure, and they removed the metal, and I was this time waking up with a sense of life, that I actually was happy to be alive. So the first time I was angry that I was not dead. I was so angry that I was still alive. But this time I woke up to the sound of whirring machines, hospital staff talking, doctors talking about what a great result was. So I woke up to the sound of solutions. But more importantly, in that hospital bed, I made a decision to change my life. So many of you on this call tonight are going to come to a defining moment where you have to make a change. So for me, that night led to this. You know what, Nathan, I can't live the same way I've always lived because I don't have the physical body to be able to facilitate that. I've got to make a big change. So I did this. I made the decision that I would commit to powering messages to make their ideas matter. Rather than just helping businesses market their wares, which is awesome, but I did that for 15 years already. So what I decided to do is take a step up, as Monique said, play bigger, and go, you know what? true influence and changing of lives happens at the idea stage. Because as we said, ideas, the reason I love them is because they change people and then they go on, those people who hear your idea, to change the world. So you now have a little bit of an understanding of why I'm so passionate about speakers, that people like you who are authors and coaches, because the world needs you. People like you who have an answer hidden in your message. You just maybe don't necessarily appreciate when you're at home and you're working on your content that you are the walking, talking solution that someone is hunting for. They just don't know it yet. And maybe you're yet to realize that too. So at this juncture, it can feel overwhelming. There's like lots of different things going around in your head. But I want to say straight off the cuff that your ideas matter. There is dignity in your content. There is absolute gravity in the things that you have to share. It can sometimes feel like, oh, it's only a small thing that I've been through or only a simple idea that I've got. Well, friend, your idea, when it's amplified and put out there using Monique's framework as well, it's going to touch lives. And the last thing is you can do it. I know that sometimes it's like too hard basket. We're not sure where to start. But tonight, congratulations to you. You've taken action. You're actually able to start. So firstly, now that we know we can get going and we know that we're in the frame of mind for it, let's just have a quick 30,000-foot view of what a speaker showreel actually is, right? But it's most helpful to look at what a showreel is in the context of the other kind of speaker videos, which I think that you should equip yourself with. So I would say the speaker showreel is the big daddy. It's number one. And then the other videos that I would recommend, which we're not discussing tonight, would be a speaker teaser of all of your keynotes. Like consider it like a video summary. That's great to do. Next one is a profile video, bit of a snapshot of who you are as a person or as a business. Oftentimes we run another business and we're being the front person for that. Profile videos are brilliant for that. Testimonial showreels are pretty self-explanatory. They're simply just talking heads of others really endorsing what you do. And the stage pre-roll, which are brilliant for when, Monique, for example, she presented in Singapore and all those different speakers around the world often travel with a pre-roll, which just helps people to build the expectation and excitement before they come on. And the last thing is custom pre and post event videos. So as you can see, it's good for you to get your head around the different suite of videos that you can be aiming to produce, whether you're an established speaker or an emerging speaker. Look at this opportunity as a showreel through a bigger lens. That way, when you film content, you know you can recycle later on. So a showreel is the movie trailer to the main event. And any guesses for what that might be? I know it's on the screen. Yes, it is indeed your keynote presentation. I know for myself, when I go to the cinemas, I'm often surprised at how different the movie can be to what I was promised on the trailer, right? It's probably happened to you as well. Or they show all the best bits in the trailer. Well, we're going to make sure that our content isn't like that. So we're going to be true to our promise of the trailer and to be a keynote. It's going to be the same. All right, so we've just got a little bit more for exploring what a showreel is. So Monique's program is great for getting you set up with a speaker profile. And some of those things are creating a speaker one sheet. That is a single pager about you as a speaker. The showreel is your best friend to that, doesn't replace it. It's also about building desire. We don't want to give away everything. We just want to give people a desire to make contact with us. Monique, we've just got some more people wanting to enter the room. If you're able to do that, that would be wonderful. Just don't have control there. And the other thing, my friends, is remember that your showreel is not evergreen. We need to make sure that it's not time sensitive, that it's evergreen, that it's something that in a few years, it's going to date and age gracefully. So some of you I know maybe are on the fence about, how much worthiness is there to doing a showreel. I know that it's a lot of effort, time and money and energy, and just simply a lot of thinking, if we're honest, but there's a lot of benefits. So you might want to reflect on this again when you watch the replay, but straight up, it's going to give you better speaking opportunities because you're going to attract the people who actually are playing in your league or the league that you want to aspire to play in. It's going to help change your aesthetic and encourage other people to see the value in your higher speaking fees. And this is a really great one. You can sell to existing clients. You would be surprised how many times you might get rehired, maybe not a keynote, but perhaps a training engagement, because you said, hey, check out the speaking showreel if you know anyone. But in actuality, they might really need you later on. And the last benefit here is strength, your brand strength, your profile. It's just really elevated when you do a speaker showreel. And some other ones here, these are kind of the hidden benefits, if you like, to doing a showreel. And that's something that some of us on this call struggle with, and that is asset libraries, to getting all of those files ready and in one place. So it's going to help you get organized with your library. And it's also down the bottom here, I've written something that I know I've really benefited from with Monique's program, and that is refining your message. It's like putting yourself up against the wall and saying, who do you work for? Who do you work for? You know, in those scenes in the action movies. So it's a really awesome time to reflect and force yourself to make a decision about what your message is. So when we do a showreel, we need to be cognizant of who the real audience is. So sometimes my clients will say, oh, it's the delegates. Actually, they're our secondary audience. The first people are the event organizers, the bureaus, or the conference producers. They're the people that we need to be attending to the most. So firstly, we just wanted to show you an example of a showreel. There's two examples in the time we've got together. First one's a fairly high-end one, and the second one is a little bit more of a attainable budget as well. So enjoy.
He is an entrepreneur to his core, and while he does not define himself by that, and I get it's all about unity, he actually knows how to execute. And that's why it's important to me that he has the skill set of an entrepreneur, because he's not an empty dreamer who's pulling all this stuff out of the ether to sound good. He questions everything. He is doing things in a new way.
What happens to your brain when you meditate? Well, drops blood pressure, and it actually gives you a healthier heart. It slows down aging. I'm actually 84. I use the word culturescape to describe the collective web of human beliefs, ideas, understandings, rituals, religions, culture as it surrounds us. But within this web of the culturescape, there are rules that help us move forward, and there are rules which are called rules or bullshit rules that hold us back. Unity is that answer. Unity should be the #1 principle we teach our children. That yes, they can embrace the flag of their country, but that we really as a species need an earth flag.
How awesome is that? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and just have a look at some of the different things that contain a really amazing showreel. So that one, as you can see, is a fairly highly produced, high budget one. And we've got another one as well, which is from a friend in Singapore, which we worked on as a client. So if we were to analyze that clip, what we're going to find is some messaging techniques. So firstly, there's memorability and repeatability. So there's this constant kind of messaging of his theme and the name, and those essences are really being driven through. And you'll see also some uniqueness, but done as differentiation. So there's things which aren't necessarily unicorns, but they're just done very clearly and very distinctly. And the last point I want to make before I move on and unpack it is that it's all about meaning. Us as humans, we crave to understand and be understood. We want to seek and create meaning. Okay, so let's dive in. So your main aims, as we said, we want to tell some stories. We want to tell your brand story, And if you've done Monique's program, you would probably recognize that as a legacy story as well. We want to be very clear on the problem that you solve. Some of us get down and stuck in the weeds and in the detail. Please come up, do that 30,000-foot view, and remember why you get up in the morning. What problem are you solving? And the next thing, as we said earlier, is that we remember who our customer is, and that is the event producer. And then the other thing that I want you to remember as we go and analyze these showreels is I want you to prove it. All the things that we've talked about, you know, you will later on go, how can I prove that which I'm trying to explain? So that gentleman was just, as we saw on his showreel, he gave you evidence. There's footage. He showed that they've done a book, they've done a training school, and there's conferences and live events. He proved visually the claims that he was making. Okay, so let's have a look now at your flagship content. What should you be including? Well, so glad you asked. The first thing you should do is include some keynote clips. So you would have seen on his clip, there was a few little brief moments of some of his really iconic keynote presentations, but done very economically, just in a few seconds here and there, pepper those through. The next thing that he included was a teaching framework, and he did that also through a book. You might have seen the screenshot of that. So he just touched on that briefly, and also some key slogans. So ask yourself, what are your keynotes or your main keynote that you want to be known for? Go and timestamp, go and look for those little moments and minutes that would be really great in a movie trailer type setting. And what teaching frameworks do you have that you can talk about? So another thing that you should include is testimonials. Now, this is what I love the most because this is where it comes to the proof time, right? So this is very confronting as someone who's a little backward in coming forward. I'm Australian. I don't like to talk about my strengths publicly, right? And some of you might be like that as well. But when the rubber hits the road, we've got to get others to endorse us. So we can do that with one of three ways. Just say you had presented at a conference or what might even be a small workshop. I really want to encourage you to take up the challenge to bring a mobile phone and film testimonials that day, that afternoon, or at least within a good amount of time where they can remember your performance. But some people are not going to feel good doing that. In that case, do a text-only kind of note, right? Some people are very happy to put their words to the name, not so much their face. And others will often be shy of putting their face, but they'll be okay with the audio recording. And I've definitely done that because that is really powerful when you put that over the top of some B-roll action footage. So you've got video, text, and audio. So you would have also seen in other examples of showreels running about the internet and also with this guy's showreel, we saw products, right? We saw product mentions. And this is fantastic because it shows that you're a person who produces. Why does that matter? Well, if I'm an event organizer and you tell me that you've produced a book or you host your own branded conference or you have an online course, I'm like, wow, okay, this person has got their stuff together. This person is reliable, they've got predictability, and they've got a following. So there is real merit in talking about all your flagship content. So whether that be, publications rather. So that could be a podcast that you run or an online course and community that you have or an annual workshop that you do. That all matters because that sends signals of trust to your event potential booker. Something that's really awesome to include as well is accolades. So some of us might find this a little bit confronting, but there's things that we can talk about. We need to bring out of the earth and put on the shelf. And that is things like awards. Make sure they're credible awards, not ones that are sponsored by certain companies or bodies that takes the merit out. I think just be realistic about those. Memberships, talk about what associations you're members of that builds trust. Or what about some unusual, some high caliber achievements that you've had? Some of you have climbed crazy mountains or jumped out of helicopters or done some just really amazing things. We want to hear about that. If you're a speaker booker, you probably hear a whole bunch of really beige applications and yours will stand out. And the last one is also brand collaborations. This is a really overlooked opportunity. So just continuing on from this authority and credibility angle that we want to build with our event organizer, there are ways that we can do it without having to do it directly. So borrowed authority might be a term that you're already familiar with, but I'd love you to think about it in 3 different ways. Now, the last 2 points are really great if you don't have a whole bunch of media content, so that's fine. First thing is use all of your media mentions. You might have appeared on TV, radio, newspaper. If not, a really great way to show that others who are high caliber on the same page as you is to use persuasive comments by celebrities who have got authority or historical figures, but just do it in a way that shows that you're not endorsing, so they're not endorsing you, but rather you're just saying, hey, we think the same. That way you're building trust. It's a really interesting little trick to use, and always be ethical about it. So those are the ways to build trust. But now let's move our attention to footage, because I know this is where the meat in the sandwich is. So right now, just a little bit of a show of hands. Who thinks they have not enough footage? Let's get a show of hands in the room. Do you think some of you do, some of you don't? Yeah, okay. So we've got some people who are like, I know I don't. And others maybe are on the fence about it. So if you already have some footage, fantastic. But if you don't, I'm going to show you some solutions at the end as well. So basically, don't panic. I want you to feel good that you have some solutions coming. So there are 2 types of different kinds of content, right? The first kind is talent footage. Yes, you are a talent. And the second thing is B-roll footage or action footage. So talent footage is all about you on camera, people seeing and hearing you. So we want to show you at your peak performance. So what we want to see are shots where you are in action and there's a dynamic range. So dynamic range of spatial and stage usage. That's you moving up and down the stage, forward and backwards in the stage, physically moving. There's a great example of that in the showreel I'll show you later on. Emotional range, like when can you come down and quiet and mysterious? Or come big and loud and then really jovial as well. Show the organizer that you have capacity to do that. And then also just think about those keynote presentation moments that we talked about. You can go and write down the minutes and seconds where those best thoughts are and think, how can I choose the best ones that are at the highest energy? Because sometimes we're all guilty of like sharing something really profound, but the energy is low. I would say that either you need to cover that up with some action footage or see if you can find something that you said in a similar way, but with more energy. And then the other thing I want to finish on with talent is it's got to be high quality audio. When you are going to do some new filming, or perhaps you're looking through archival footage, I would say it's better to sacrifice the vision and the audio, which probably sounds contradictory as someone who produces vision for a living, videos for a living, but you can always cover up sensational audio that has a bad image, right? So I would say really make sure you pay more attention to your audio. So the second type of vision and getting your visual message across is action footage. So here are a few ideas here. I know I've put a few things on screen here, but the stage shots, if you can't record the audio, just grab the visuals. Sometimes conferences are a real mess and that there's no AV people to help you out. That's okay. Get a tripod, set your mobile phone up, just get the visual anyway. Get some reaction shots if you can, and just kind of be aware of the angle so you don't have to ask permission. For example, a really great shot is a side-on look, side of the face, or even behind the heads of the crowds. Then you don't have to worry about those first people's identity being on the internet, right? Unless you have the event organizers who film audience footage for you. In that case, when they registered, they gave their permission. I'd love you to think about in your footage, how is the shot composed? Really high authority content comes from you filling the frame to showing that you are really kind of like up there, powerful and credible. But we also want to see some kind of panned back shots to show others that you are an influencer, perhaps with a crowd shot with you on a stage far away. Get some variety in those shots. Other really cool shots to do kind of behind the scenes. Do that in a way that's meaningful and not cliche. And also, in general, show, not tell. As a principle, that's a really awesome one to always be aware of, is how can I show my intent? So if you're wanting to show people that you connect with your audiences, why not go the extra mile and show shots of you interacting with the event attendees in a hallway? That kind of stuff is brilliant and beautiful for a event booker to see happening. So what do you do if you don't have enough? Another quick poll for me. Who has spoken at an event and was promised footage but did not get it? Many have you ever had that? I've been promised content. Yes, some of you have. And it breaks my heart. It really does, because you guys put such a lot of effort into crafting an amazing message, and it's gone. But all's not lost. So during the pandemic years, I used these bullet points to help clients navigate their way through it. So some of you are already doing webinars. Use that opportunity to perhaps film the whole tile of all the different people attending as a bit of a few seconds of showing different faces on the screen. But if you're doing webinars as well, set up a camera here or behind you or something to show that you're interacting with the computer. That sounds like a simple shot, but trust me, it works. The next thing is a studio style setup where if you haven't done a lot of speaking engagements already, that's fine. Set up a mock studio, some kind of set, if you like, something inexpensive, just to show people that you have got quality in the forefront of what you do. Another thing that I get clients to do is to organize a small audience. So I'm sure you've got plenty of friends and family who owe you. You've done nice things for them. So now time has come for you to call in the favor. So set up a small, very kind of like shoulder to shoulder audience setting and just film it. It's also an amazing opportunity for you to try out your ideas, to see if they matter to people, to see what lands. And another really great thing, and it's not ideal, but we can use still images, photographs, to really fill out our videos if we think we're lacking in the footage department. So those are some quick tips for you there, and there's more as well, but we'll just keep pushing on through this session together. But what I'd love to also really emphasize is that people who are established speakers, people who are already on those different stages around the world, you know what I've found? And if you want to hear some secrets, I'll tell you, they don't have standard operating procedures. They don't have any operational procedures for filming. So often they will just not be aware of it because they're so busy thinking about other things, or maybe just not something that they've thought about yet. But you can get ahead of it by building that into your proposal to your event organizer. Say, hey, as part of this, we're going to be doing some filming, or we're going to ask you to deliver the filming. Build it into your operating procedures. So here's an example shot of, I know it's a terrible smile, don't judge me for that. The side-on approach, right? Slightly behind the scenes with the camera, and you could be doing a webinar with a computer, say, in front of you. That kind of shot covers up if you're missing footage, but it still shows a bit of authority. This shot here is actually a stock piece of footage. So we have very ethically and transparently used a little bit of stock footage here and there just to try and cover some edit transitions or something like that. But the mantra is also not only make ideas matter, but tell the truth attractively. Always be truthful. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you are missing some shots in an auditorium size of, say, it's a 1,000-person auditorium, don't be using an arena audience shot of 3,000 people applauding. That's not ethical. It's not right. So you need to be aware of just telling the truth attractively. But yes, you can use a little bit of stock footage just to help you out. So this is the next show reel I wanted to show you. And this is from one of my friends in Singapore. And the reason I want to show you this one is that we made great use of some very low quality footage. We also made use of some shocking audio. And then we pulled it together because he had enough really sensational stage material to really make it work. So it's roughly about 3 minutes, and I'll probably might finish it a few minutes early, a few moments early.
One of the best presentations I have attended in my life.
Eugene is one of the greatest Imagineers.
Absolutely inspirational. Your role has been made redundant. How did I end up being RIP?
Very insightful, especially the RIP portion.
I was quickly able to connect with his message.
It was very energetic.
One of my clients is the biggest supplier of zippers. So I told them, hey, imagine this. One day, I'm holding Starbucks on one hand and an iPhone on the other, standing at the urinal, and it's all hands-free, man. That would be awesome.
His energy was fantastic. The crowd was very energized.
And I changed everything. So the Eugene Sia you see on stage today, it's not the same Eugene Sia who lost his job.
Very relevant to the industry and even personally in my own business.
You are looking for something else, sense of achievement, sense of fulfillment. Put your right hand on your heart, not for a show. Make a promise to yourself that your life will be amazing. I'll be part of a movement that creates the future.
He left me wanting to be better than I am, wanting to reach farther than I have, and wanting to do more.
He made me think.
Thank you for the inspiration.
All right, so we saw some really awesome examples of some of the things that we've discussed already. And one of the big things that I love about that particular reel is the transformational aspect. So your key message is already dialed in. By now, you've got plenty of experience sharing it. But what I loved most about that one is he made me feel like X, right? So we went from feeling this way to feeling this way. So really high contrast, transformative moments. So you want to show the organizers of the event, hey, when I speak, your audience changes, and here's proof, right? So those are the few things there. And we saw the audience members, when they're giving the testimonials, use the keywords that we wanted to represent Eugene. So they said, he's energetic, he's funny, or whatever the words are for you. Let's see if we can get those words mentioned. Okay, so let's now change channels and go to the branding aspect of your speaker showreel. So just type in the chat, are you feeling good about your brand where it is? Just say yay, nay, or I'm in the middle. Where are you with your branding? How confident are you with it? Yay, nay, or I'm in the middle. It's a bit of a big one. Middle, yeah, confused, I like it. Are you feeling really clear about your brand, or you're kind of starting out, or maybe you're in the throes of just designing it from scratch? Fairly confident, fantastic. You're partly there. Awesome. Yes, and that's right, Monique. We can always improve things. Not there yet? Okay, well, that's the best place to be is the beginning, I think. So branding essentials for your speaker showreel. So we can always do better. And just as you know, as an aside, I'm constantly thinking about myself as a startup every year. I don't know if that encourages you, but I go back to January every year and go, if I had to start from scratch again, if I was a startup, what would I do with my brand? That's how I look at my life every year. So branding essentials, it's okay to rethink it. We've had clients who have done a speaker showreel. They've actually shut down production of it and gone and redone their brand and then come back. So this is really important to take your time with it. Okay, so friends, we want to see your brand name. We want to see your logo, your slogan, your beautiful color palette, your amazing fonts. And on this right-hand side column is the scary stuff. We want to know your brand guidelines. So this is where the person producing your showreel gets to know your brand personality. So what kind of tone of voice do you use? What kind of keywords should there be? And what are the rules? So for example, are there art direction rules that should always be observed in order to keep your brand intact and integrous? So this slide, I think, is really important if you don't already have it dialed in to just be aware of as projects for yourself. And Monique's going to ask you these kind of questions when you do her program too, because it forces you to think. So your logo can be used in a few different ways in the showreel. It doesn't just have to be at the beginning, doesn't just have to be at the end. You can do a channel logo. You can put it not too dissimilar to how I've done with Monique's logo in the top right-hand corner of these slides. It just constantly drives the repetition and consistency that your brand means something. And I've added a little teacher note here, and that is correct usage. So this is all about not stretching your logo, not making it glow in a weird color, or not making it kind of too massive they can't see anything. Just be really careful. It's like a child that needs looking after, okay? So here's some more fun stuff for you. Now, one of the things I've been very intentional over the years to build is visual motifs. Visual motifs for my brand. So Monique and those who have joined us on this call who are from Singapore, I'm in Australia, but go to Singapore a fair bit. I've spoken at the conference a few years, spoken at a conference here, but I always wear my sneakers every single time. And where I can, I wear a blazer or a leather jacket, but always the sneakers. Wanted to build this brand, again, not a unicorn, just distinct, where people are learning me. So when I went to Singapore this year, I had people on different days saying, what sneakers are you going to wear tomorrow? What are you going to wear tonight? So people are learning me, right? And people want to learn you. Give them a simple, really clear visual motif that is associated with you iconically. So it doesn't have to be an object or a piece of clothing. Monique has the eagle. What have you got? Maybe something you can use in different ways. So really, the repetition part is what I love about motifs. If it's easy to recall is one thing, but if it's easy to remember, further down the line, like a year or 2 years later, even better. So have a think. Maybe ask one of your friends. For me, sneakers. It doesn't get any cooler than that, right? These are my little babies that I bought on Orchard Road in Singapore. You can't tell that I'm actually very sick in that photo, but the sneakers do all the talking. So we're coming to a landing here now. So it is a call to action. Put in the chat, how good is your call to action? Does it need more work? I'm going to say mine always needs more work. How confident are you with your call to action? I know that some of you guys are just too lovely and polite to put the ask out there. And some of you are more confident with it. Needs more work? Yep. Well, here's a really, really easy cheat sheet for you. This one is actually not about a hard sell. It's really an indirect sell, or it's a transitional one if you wanted to give it a better word. So the call to action we call an end frame. And this is where we want to just leave people again with a very clear next step, right? So we want to leave no doubt in the organizer's mind that they only have one job to do. So we want to just get rid of the rule that we have as speakers of having things in threes. So we always talk about how humans are built to remember 3 things. That's true and correct. In this context, let's snap that thinking and give them one clear thing to do and make it word economical. So a very short sentence. So amongst those things, we also want to have the contact details. Personally, I love to just have the website address and nothing else. Others might prefer to have the bureau's contact details if someone is acting on their behalf as an agent. And something else that you might like to consider is to actually just stretching out the duration of the end frame to 3 or 4 seconds or even longer. So you'd be surprised at how effective that is, because that also, let's be honest, if they're viewing it on YouTube, that's going to delay the next autoplay for whatever random video is going to come and disrupt their thinking. So now we're getting granular, right? We have to think about the context in which our video is going to be placed or embedded. So drag out that end frame to delay that next autoplay moment for as long as is practical. So as you can see, it's not super difficult. I know there's a lot of detail there, but it's very knowable. It's very doable, and you guys are more than able to do it. I guess one of the main things that I want you to leave you with is that you are someone's solution. Your idea is someone's answer. And that should really, I guess, help you to find the internal strength to be able to go, you know what, I can do this. A showreel is not too hard. Maybe you felt that you weren't someone whose message was ready for auditoriums, who wasn't ready to go to companies and influence and impact people. But I can tell you that if you're part of this community, you are. If you're on this call, be encouraged. You're one of the 2% that is taking action. So thank you so much. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen now and hand back to the beautiful Monique. Thanks very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, let's switch screen as well. So yeah, thank you for really giving a glimpse into how to create show reels. Let me see a show of hands. How many of you feel inspired to create your own now? Right? How many start believing that it can be possible for you as well, right? I mean, I know as you started, Nathan, right? At the beginning, you said like, you know, we need to start with believing you can and believing that you have value. And I know there were quite a few questions, so I think that we should get into the question and answer round of our session today. Nathan, I know you already showered us with so many insight suggestions, but there's still some questions that I don't think we have answered. Some of them we have.
Sure.
Some of them we haven't. I think the one from Rebecca wasn't really answered yet, right? Which mantra did you keep repeating to yourself to keep going, and how was the jump from smaller gigs to big audiences? You want to say something about that?
Yeah, for sure. Rebecca, thank you for the question. That's a very insightful one. Journey has been rough. So any speaker who tells you, or any person who just tells you that it's easy, it's not true. I mean, tomorrow morning, you and I are friends now, so I can speak frankly. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to hospital. I'm being admitted at 8:30 a.m. For something that I just have to deal with, right? The realities of life. So one of the things that has kept me going is the fact that my ideas are bigger than me. My ideas are stronger than me. So that has kept me going. It's kept me driven. And my friends and family have also, and my clients have also said, oh, such and such needs to hear this. So that's kind of kept me motivated to actually just do something other than stay in bed, right? Dealing with chronic pain that you have to have surgery with every year. It's not cool, right? You just want to stay in bed and play small. So that's actually a way of thinking about how to view your life message, which Monique's program does just so brilliantly. So how can you take what you have faced and take that pain and profit from it? Profit in the sense of impact and influence, not just monetary profit. So for me, I shied away from it, but actually that's what helped people connect with me better. So I hope that answers that part. And then with the making that jump from the smaller gigs to larger gigs, I think there's this beautiful adolescence where you'll always be doing both and always be feeling unprepared for both. So I spoke at a real estate conference in Melbourne, which was massive. And I felt like I was there for the first time doing a speech for the first time. And I think being nervous is a really beautiful way of showing that you honor the opportunity. But in a more practical sense, I did it through referrals. So I was very clear on solving people's problems first. I went into some industries and said, hey, actually, I can help you as a consultant deal with staff retention, or your brand needs some help. Let me help with a consulting package just to fix your brand. So I came in from that angle. So I'm sure you've got services that can help you get seen as the authority, and then you can reposition yourself to be someone who can do those larger gigs as well. Thanks, Rebecca.
Love that. And also to add to that, Nathan, I mean, you know, when I started to speak at bigger stages, you know, it started out with intention, to be very honest. Okay. And then really, you know, I say, hey, I want to speak to bigger audiences, you know, and I want to speak more internationally, right? I want to share the stage with, you know, more established thought leaders. And then it all starts with intention, Heather, or Rebecca, everyone, right? And then I started to open up to opportunities, right? I was in conversation with people. I started to look for events like that, and I started to network with the right people and started to get invited, and the bigger the stages became. So within setting the intention and really making it happen, it was only a couple of months. So within 2 years of me setting that intention to really expand my speaking to support my business more, you know, I spoke, I don't know how many times, quite a few times on stages with, you know, spoke to hundreds of people, and once even to 3,500. So it doesn't even need to take that long. And at the same time, let me say, also, it doesn't really matter how many people you have in front of us. What really matters is you know, no matter how big or small an audience is, we can always trust that we make an impact on some people's lives. So it's not always about the bigger, it's really about speaking to the right audience. And that's in sync with your brand and who you want to reach. Anyhow, Nathan, I think there are more questions to answer, and we have you here, so we want to take advantage of that. So I think the question from Heather, you already answered on what do you do when there's very little footage, because you went into quite detail, showing a lot of hints and tips there. Don't know if you want to add anything to what you already shared, or...
Yeah, so I would say that everything is content, everything. So I film absolutely everything, and I have some tools that help me do it quicker. So just for example, I want to show you this. I have a few different mobile phone filming devices, and what this does is it helps you to get more cinematic, high quality content without buying crazy expensive gear. So this simply just allows your phone to sit in a frame, and then you can do all sorts of really cool, smooth things. Or someone who's a friend or a delegate or organizer can do some footage for you, or you can screw it onto the base of a tripod. So there's plenty of opportunities. The other thing that is really good to do is also think about free speaking engagements as gold, right? So doing those freebies, think about payment as assets. So get paid in assets. Say, look, I can do this free gig for you, but there's going to be like a couple of cameras in the room and there's going to be microphones. That's your payment, getting paid in assets. I think that's really key. So, and the other thing I was going to just say, following on from Monique's comments to Rebecca, is that for me, actually, the first couple of years, I didn't want big gigs. I was very laser focused on small to medium, because people are doors, right? So I just want to reach people who are the right doors because there's someone standing behind them, right? But also it helped me to be able to really refine my presentation to the point where, you know what, I'm worthy of being chosen for those kind of stages. So be deliberate. Like, it doesn't mean you're playing small just because you're doing smaller gigs. It just means you're clever. I think you're smart, and just roll with it. Yeah.
Love
So
it.
we've got another question here.
Yeah, there's another one. I've been more in the entrepreneurial space and now shifting corporate speaking, right? How can I easily make that happen or make that shift?
Yeah. So Heather, is that you're saying you're still doing speaking, but in a more corporate setting? Would that be accurate?
Yeah. Hi, Nathan. Thanks for that. Hi, Monique. Yeah. So where I've been sort of thinking, I've done quite a bit, sort of small workshops and that sort of thing in corporates. I've done stuff with some local university with students and so on. But I've realized now where the business is shifting to is that I want to work more with organizations. I can create more of a revolution if I've got that sort of big audience. So I'm happy and confident on stage, but I'm kind of like going, my show reel is, I think pathetic is a slight understatement. I've got some weird random things that I'm going to start using and picking up on. But I think it's like, for me, I've always been very confident in finding spaces to speak to entrepreneurs because I'm speaking to the end user rather than the booker or the whatever. It's slightly different. Whereas now I'm kind of shifting, speaking more to the speaker bookers. I'm speaking to the conference organizers, etc. They're my audience. My audience is not the end user, which is it's always been before. So I'm kind of like, how do I do things differently to shift?
Yeah. Well, firstly, well done on having a speaker show reel, and feel proud of it. It has served you well and gotten to where you are today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
One thing I always say is create work that you are embarrassed of. I think it means you're actually putting it out there. A good artist creates, does it with embarrassment, and creates again. So well done. The show reel is obviously brought fruitfulness to your life. So the second thing, I think with the corporate space, you are correct. And thank you for making that mindset shift to seeing the event bookers as the first audience. So really understanding their needs. Like, for example, in Singapore a few weeks ago, I had an HR agent tell me, you know what, Nathan, when speakers apply to speak at our company, they have not researched anything about us. That blows me away. Like she said to me, you know what, all we want to see at minimum Do they even know our mission, vision, values, our strategic plan, goals of some description? Often the speakers don't do any customization for that application. So it doesn't mean it's got to be in your show reel, but speak to the need, use their language back on them. So what you could do, say, Heather, is say in your show reels, talk about how you understand the challenges of a corporate environment, or you understand what it means for, let's just say you're talking about staff engagement. You understand what is at stake when staff are not engaged, and that they will go, oh, she understands me. She understands us. So it doesn't have to be specific, because we said in the presentation before that a showreel should be evergreen and not time sensitive. So hopefully that's helpful for you.
Can I just add a tack on a little bit? I do a little bit of slightly sort of divisive type marketing, because I think there's so much in the space where people are kind of saying the same thing over and over. How much can I sort of push that? I'm a bit gobby and outspoken.
Okay, brilliant.
and I get understand. I'm not quiet, shy, retiring type, and I kind of I need to get that energy out there. And I kind of want to do it from now, because if that's the person you want, that's what you're going to get. And if you want the shy, retiring type, then I'm not the girl for you. And I'm kind of like, how far can I push that?
Okay, let's test and measure. So one of the clients I had who, during the process, realized, you know what, this brand doesn't fit anymore. It feels like old clothes. Get rid of it, start again, go big. So she didn't delete the old one, but it's a case of testing and measuring. I would say get your brand really refined and beautifully articulated first, and then just go in guns blazing with it. I think what is useful is, I know that like being outspoken and being, contrarian or whatever else, I don't know enough about you or your brand to understand deeply. But what I also do understand is de-risking. So I would say really make yourself distinct and really unique, but de-risk it. How can you help an event organizer feel that you are a good, safe, predictable, well, not predictable, maybe a more certain choice? Hey, I'm a rebel. I do things differently. I think differently, but I'm solid. I understand your need, and I can speak in a way that delivers.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a nice counterbalance for you.
Yeah, it can bring an edge to the event rather than everybody else is like corporate. Well, actually, here's something, as you say, still safe and corporate edge, but with that kind of distinctive style. And
exactly.
I'm going to challenge your audience, because I think that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Show why it's transformational. And the other thing is talk about their events as well. One thing that I do, and none of you guys have to do this, this is just my own personal choice. When I do my bookings with them, I say that I'm a clean speaker. I don't swear, I don't tell dirty jokes, all that kind of stuff. But I do all this other cool stuff, right? Like, with sneakers, with Lego, with cool video interaction stuff. But I de-risk it, saying, hey, I'm very safe in this department, but I'm super crazy and do all this other fun stuff in the creative. Who knew that we had to now use not swearing as a marketing point? I use it as a marketing edge. It's a strange world we live in. Hopefully that answers you.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Cheers.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather, for your great questions. Anyone else wants to still ask something? Just unmute yourself and hop on or put it into the chat. But I think we are up at the hour already anyhow, right? So, but I think maybe we have time for one more question if anything's coming up. And I see also, Nathan, we have a lot of thank yous from everyone, right? Christiana,
thank you.
Tim and Cass and Chalene.
Thanks,
and
everyone.
Quite a few already shared some appreciation and shared you with appreciation. So no other questions coming up here at the moment. I definitely highly recommend you to connect with Nathan as well. Nathan, I don't know, do you want to put like your LinkedIn profile or something here so people know how to find you, how to connect with you? Is there anything you want to leave them with to connect with you?
Yep. So I'm going to be running a Speaker Showreel online course pretty soon too. So if you'd like to be part of the pilot program, just simply email me. It's just Nathan@Nathan Shooter. I'll put that in there. It's the most straightforward email on the planet for someone with that name. So it is a Speaker Showreel online course, and for my next community, I want to offer a founder's price on that. So just put in the subject heading Showreel course, and I'll make sure that you get first access to that. And the other one too, Monica, that I'm going to be running is branding, how to get your house in order. So I know that that can be something that's a bit hard or a bit out of kind of our own kind of orbit. Doesn't have to be unreachable. Again, just shoot me an email, nathan@nathanshooter.com, about the branding course as well.
Perfect. Let us know when you're running the Speaker Showreel course as well, right? We're going to be happy to share it as well. And all of you know that we have our guests always and our recordings always sitting in the Hall of Fame, so you can always catch up, right? I know some of you said, hey, I want to watch this again. So I saw some comments like that. You can find that in our Hall of Fame, and there will be an email going out to all of you that registered for this event. So don't worry, that will come your way as well. So thank you, Nathan, for being on here with us. I've seen you in Singapore. I've seen you in action. I know you're creating amazing showreels, and not only that, you really help people, make their ideas matter, get their voice out there in a greater way, make their brand shine, and that's what Nathan is all about. He's brilliant. So definitely connect with him. Take advantage of being part of his showreel course if you want to have help, step-by-step guidance on that. In any case, of course, connect on LinkedIn with him, Nathan Shooter, easy to find. And make your ideas matter, because every single one of you has ideas, has a message, has a story, has a gift and talent and experience to touch lives. So please, all of you that have been with us today, okay, we celebrate you, we honor you. Nathan and I, we are here to really lift you up, get you to elevate your speaking, get you to elevate your business. Use your ideas, use your knowledge, wisdom, experience to help others up-level their business, their message, their lives as well. Okay, Nathan, is there a final, a few wise words that you would like to round off with today?
I just really think it settles down to your decisions define you, right? And by you being on this call tonight, you've made it clear that this is something that you're really committed to doing. So just again, congratulations, well done. And hopefully you can go on to inspire many.
Thank you. And all of you, we always end with saying, hey, friends, use the power of your voice in the greatest way. Okay, step up with your speaking as, show up to the world, don't hold back, don't sit in the shade. You have everything inside of you already that's worth sharing. Okay, so go out there, boost your visibility, and speaking is one of the best ways of putting yourself onto the map of the world. Okay, don't stop being a hidden gem. Embark on your journey, or elevate your journey to really become an outstanding speaker and thought leader, because it's inside of you already. So I'm just leaving you with our mantra that we always share and round it off with. It's like, hey friends, speak up, scale up, impact the world in your own unique, magical, powerful way. And we are back with you next month, if not in between, with quite a few of you. Just keep creating your magic on stage, in business, in life, and beyond. Okay. Thank you for being on here with us today, and we'll be in touch. And as we see you again next month, we have another amazing guest at our HeartPowered Speaking Community Call. Nathan, all the best in the first place for tomorrow. Okay, the world needs you. Take well care of yourself. Okay, and all of you, take well care of yourself. Shine your light in the brightest way, and let us help you to step up in a greater way. Let's step up together. Okay, all the best. Cheers.